Don't be nervous. You got this.
Thanks. It's the first time.
This is the 2026 version.
Okay, we'll call this handbook special meeting to order. We'll do roll call.
My guest, Bishop one. Rick Buchanan, court clerk.
Leanne Hines, assessor's office.
That's an alternate. Two.
Erin McConnell, county clerk.
Paul Foster, District 30. Okay, notice the meeting was properly posted on January 15th, 2026. Item number 1, is there a motion to approve the minutes of January 13th? Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 2, discussion of possible action regarding the official work draft of the handbook employee policy, Oklahoma County Employee Policy Handbook. Requested by Parks and Board, so this is ongoing.
Yep, and it's just the updated version per our last meeting.
Okay, so no action needed on 2. 3, we have the Oklahoma Constitution and IRS codes containing a mobile phone policy, vehicle usage, and uniform safety equipment. Eric.
I would actually move to strike this item and go to item number 4. Lisa did send over some information. I had a chance to look at it. So this is the carryover item from last meeting, but unless y'all want to talk more about the IRS.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So does 4 need to be stricken as well?
Oh, no, sorry.
To accept the changes.
Yep, so
Go ahead.
you said, okay. I attached some edits to the handbook that Cassie's working on to that agenda item. So if you look on page 35 is where they start.
Is that what you have up?
Correct.
That's great.
So looking through the internal code documents, I actually found that cell phones are not a taxable fringe benefit. If you look at that comment, EM3, that's the IRS language that explains why they are not a tax benefit unless you give them to promote goodwill, boost morale, or attract prospective employees, which I don't think the offices are doing. I think it's for business purposes. So that being said, I think we can actually take out this piece about the IRS code. With this, the first sentence, county paid cell phones will be utilized only for county business and will not be used for any personal calls. This was kind of introduced in the ACO handbook as a requirement of the Oklahoma Constitution and the IRS code, but it is not either, nor is it in our current handbook. So I wanted to discuss if we want to keep this as a policy decision. There's no reason from the IRS or like that it would be taxable if you did use it for a personal call.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Any discussion?
Well, the way it looks now, I can use it for personal purchases, but not for personal calls, right? The mobile phone.
With your own card.
Yeah, no, I get that. But if I could use it for personal use, just not personal calls. That's why I'm reading
That's
that.
the way, sure. That's the way it reads.
Yeah, okay.
Either way wouldn't be taxable.
Yeah, I understand.
So I guess what my thoughts are, take out the whole section and just move this Open Records Act thing under the communication systems.
So delete the first sentence and just go with employees should be aware.
Delete the mobile phone policy,
Just a second.
the first and second paragraphs,
Right.
and then move this open records, the third paragraph, just move it to the use of communication systems. Because really open records is going to be for.
And that's what is that your motion?
That is my thought.
Say that again, you want to move it where, under what?
So she's just saying delete this portion and
Delete
it will
the
be a
highlighted.
continuation of use of county property. Is that what you're saying?
No, delete the highlighted.
Okay.
And then following this, we have use of communication systems. I would just paste it into that on page 36.
So start with that paragraph. This one.
Like I would be,
Move this directly under the header.
I would move it to, I would probably move it towards the end of that use of communication systems. There's a sentence, employees are not permitted to maintain personal information on any of the county's communication systems. And then we could probably paste it in there or somewhere. But is anyone opposed to taking out let me just go back to the mobile phone policy. We would basically be implementing this, that you can't use your county phone for any personal calls. So is anyone opposed to taking that out, knowing it's not required by the IRS, Constitution, or the current handbook? Or are you wanting to put that in? Because it is more of like a policy decision.
You said you don't mind taking it. I don't either, because I think the most important thing is whenever you put on that phone is subject of records. Like that's the most important thing. If you want to do that for yourself.
Everybody agreeing as far as just the first, taking out the first paragraph there.
So
And where do you want to move the third one?
I believe she was
In
saying
your
to the end
motion?
of this section.
yeah, let me
Just
so
before.
I'll make a motion to delete the mobile phone policy, including the first and second paragraphs under the policy.
I'll second.
I kind of think most people think of a mobile phone differently than that big communication system thing. I mean, not that they should or that that's right or whatever, but I just feel like most people think of the mobile phone as kind of a different thing. So even, I think we could, get rid of those first two paragraphs and still just keep it under mobile phone policy, just because I think people would expect to maybe look for a mobile phone policy and just, delete the extraneous stuff if we need that third paragraph.
I feel like the use of communication system would include phones.
Does it say that in there specifically? That all of this system includes?
Yeah, so under
Mobile phone.
definitions,
If it says
on
that, then I
end of
think we're
page
good.
35. So communication systems refers to systems owned and or used by the county to send and receive messages, images, data, or content, which include, but not limited to fax, telephone, computer, internet, website, social media.
List mobile phones.
Maybe we should just put,
Telephones.
instead of just the
Telephone
telephone
systems.
systems, go
Yeah,
ahead
which I
and
think
put
County's
mobile
telephone
phones.
system.
Okay.
I think of my mobile phone as a telephone system.
Yeah.
The telephone system was the wired telephone sitting on the dish.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe we could just add that in that
Yeah.
list. And
You
just
could add
cover
mobile
it.
phones there if you want it under this part, or you could leave it separate.
Is
Right now.
anybody here on that IT committee? They had a meeting last week. I was out of town. So I think that IT committee is going to come in with, they're going to make their own policy. The advice to do that with the SA and I. And I think it's going to look totally different than anything we may be doing. And so it may be that we have to come back later and clean this up.
Sure.
It's just an FYI. But I wasn't at the first meeting, but I know Dane had contacted me, Dane Coffey, and said, hey, do I need to come to you about what we're doing? And I said, no. I said, if you've got an entirely, that was my opinion, right? And I said, you can if you want to, but I said, if you've got an entirely different, IT policy than the handbook, then all we'll have to do is just put a link to their policy. If we decide to do it. Kind of like we do.
So we may come back to it.
So I think it could be temporary, may not, but I think the IT policy when it comes to computers, phone systems, and all that stuff, they're gonna have a whole lot of something that they're gonna be presenting to the budget board and the BOCC.
Yeah, well, for the time being, I think I'll, if I can amend my motion, so I'll still delete the mobile phone policy, the first two paragraphs, move the third paragraph down to communication systems after the paragraph that starts, employees do not have a personal privacy right in any message created, received, or stored.
This one.
Yeah. And then add cell phones to the definition of communication system.
Cell phones or mobile phones?
Just get issued a satellite phone.
What do you think is more all inclusive? To me, they're the same thing. To me, telephone systems.
They are, but your motion, so.
Mobile phones.
Okay.
Mobile phones to the definition of communication systems, which is on page 35.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? You know, we can-
Yes. Actually,
Okay, number 5, discussion possible action to accept changes to the employee separation section.
We're on 4.
Yeah, we're not.
Oh, we're not done with 4? Oh, that was just thought policy. Okay, go ahead. Back to 4 then. Vehicle usage.
Okay, so vehicle usage starts on page 37. The first paragraph is some basic language that comes from the interim handbook saying you have to have a driver's license to operate a vehicle, an Oklahoma County vehicle, and obey traffic laws. The other added language that's in red, this is the IRS language that determines whether your vehicle is taxable. So if you go to the first paragraph there, I've added a line that the assignment of county-owned vehicles to employees shall be reported to the county clerk's office as a taxable fringe benefit in the month assigned using the payroll change form.
Oh. Go ahead.
That will allow us to track this like I believe that we should be. And then leaving in just kind of some information to help people decide what is taxable.
So, Aaron, by your definition, I want to see if I'm clear on this. This is for people who take them home,
Mm-hmm.
a take-home vehicle.
Like a commuter vehicle. So if you had a vehicle that you park in the parking garage, if you drive it during the day, that would not be taxable.
What about sheriff's office?
It depends if it falls under one of these categories, if it's taxable or not.
Yeah, I think in our last meeting, what we ended up discovering is most county vehicles, whether you take them home or not, don't qualify under this anyway because they're clearly marked. That's what we decided last time. Right?
Yeah, if your department decides that it's clearly marked and it doesn't meet this, then you just wouldn't report it to our office. I'm wanting to just put this in so everybody's clear about what makes it taxable versus not, and then that everyone just has the responsibility to report it. And we actually do have some employees that pay taxes on take-home vehicles in the county.
My question would be though, this is an employee handbook to tell the employees kind of what expectations are. But it would be the department's responsibility, according to this language, to submit that document to the clerk's office. So that's more of an SOP on internal procedures between elected official to elected official or department to department. I just don't think that it would go in a handbook.
It may not be the best place for it, but I think based on like this kind of falling off in past years, really is what I've gathered from conversations is that it needs to go somewhere, and this is a shared document between departments that kind of establishes some of those things. It is included in the ACO handbook, so I do think that it needs to be here just to be somewhere that's visible and keeps it at top of mind.
But I think one of the goals of this group was that the handbook had grown to such proportions that the idea was to scale it back and kind of outline the stuff. I mean, this goes way beyond that, giving, people, information about the IRS and what they have to do. I mean, that's all stuff that they should be seeking their tax professional. And I think that was mentioned whenever you use the language that form would be filled out and that you would, follow the guidelines listed on that. I can't remember what the title of that form was.
Is this just copy based from the IRS code?
It is, but it's also is included in that skeleton in the ACO handbook. So yes, I would love to cut it down and make it as short as possible, but I think it was included there. That's supposed to be like our skeleton of legal standards. So
There was a discussion at the very beginning of this when we first came in on whether or not there should be two separate books where we have a handbook, shorten it down as much as possible, and have maybe things of this nature in policies and procedures manual.
Was that a statement or a question?
That was a statement, but then
Okay.
my question was, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that,
I think it needs to be included because there's so much confusion even in this group about like what this should look like, and
What
hopefully
if we-
it clears it up.
let me ask if there's a compromise here. Can we, if this is pert near cut and paste from the IRS code, can't we just put that link in there?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, that's what I was asking a second ago. If this is just copy and paste, why don't we say, if you're issued a county vehicle, you may be subject to IRS tax code, please look below to find out. I don't know.
But it still wouldn't be the employee's responsibility to find out. It would be each department heads or whoever's assigning it. So I think,
Exactly.
but
Which
I
this
think
is
from the
not.
clerk's office providing guidance on like this is what I need you all to report on. If you do assign a vehicle, it doesn't meet these qualifications. Like I would like that information just to be readily available. It's less than 2 pages. Probably will fit on 1 page.
Do we know if there's anybody that does qualify for taxable? You said some people pay tax and stuff. What's an example?
All 3 of the districts have drivers assigned cars that pay taxes monthly.
Like your
Aaron, I'm not disputing what your policy, what you guys should be getting from departments. I just don't think that should be in the handbook. I understand that you may not be getting the information that you would like and that you need from departments, but putting it in a handbook, an employee handbook, I should say, I don't think is the appropriate place to put that.
It is in the ACO employee handbook.
Well, but it's completely separate. There's lots of things that you guys aren't including from the ACO handbook.
Sure, but I think that would speak to the fact that it should be in an employee handbook. Like it's not.
So everything that you guys have already removed from the ACO handbook, you think we should go ahead and include it?
I don't. This I do.
Hang on. Let me try something here. What if the county clerk's office in a budget board meeting offered this as a reminder to say, hey, this is information purposes only, it's IRS code. Just make sure everybody knows, because our office is the office that has to deal with it, right? So our office being your. So it's a budget board meeting, and that way they look at it, they're informed, it's just information only. We're not asking them to alter anything. That way that gets out to all 8 elected officials. And their department is now aware of the policy. Would that help you all when it comes to IRS reporting? That way instead of the handbook as a compromise. Just a thought.
Which one on the second page?
I hadn't really thought of this before that much, but who do we consider a county employee? Like a department head or, there might be specialized people, in the upper echelons of the county, but they're still employees. Do we want them to know what they're supposed to do via this handbook or just like us minion employees that?
That's well, kind of my point is that this has two things in it. My interpretation of it has two things in it. Number one, it has IRS information that is helpful and handy for employees to know that if they have a take-home vehicle, they could be subject, based upon the classification of the vehicle and their internal classification, all that they may be subject to have to pay taxes on that. But having just a one sentence and a link to the IRS guidelines, I think solves that. The part that I have an issue with is the part that talks about that the form shall be submitted, because then it's going to be our employees are going to be, well, what form do I need to submit and who do I need to submit it to and how do I submit it? Well, no, they're not, the employee is not the one submitting that form. It is the department that's responsible for submitting that form. So I don't think that portion of it needs to be in or should be in an employee handbook.
But I agree with Leanne's point that the person submitting the payroll change form is also an employee that needs to be provided guidance on how to handle this.
Is that our concern that those people don't know what they're supposed
think so,
to do?
yeah, based on the conversations that we've had.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking, well, if they don't know, then.
What about attaching it to this Oklahoma County personal use of county
And that's
vehicle agreement form?
And that's what I thought was in there. It states it there, so you cover all of that with that one sentence.
It doesn't link it back to how our office gets the information that we need to do
Well,
this to issue the W-2s correctly.
But you can send those requests out to the departments.
And we'll do an annual, like the valuation part, we'll need to do that annually, but in order for this to be correct, it needs to be monthly and the month assigned, so I think it's just an ongoing communication thing.
So if people aren't submitting their payroll correctly, or they're not submitting their BET estimate of needs correctly, or they're not submitting, agenda items correctly, we're gonna put all of the directions on how people need to do that in the employee handbook. I think that's going beyond what the employee handbook is. This should be general information for all employees, not necessarily for a specific employee. That's SOPs, that's policy manuals, that's those types of things need to address that, not an employee handbook.
So make a motion, see what
Okay, I'll move to accept the changes to the vehicle usage section.
with the added language, correct?
Yeah, the,
Stuff in it.
Does this have a section though? Can you scroll like that one time?
Yes.
Right there, stop.
You're moving to add the IRS language, is that correct?
and really just add it back. We had taken it out last meeting, from the ACO draft and, just adding also the channel of information of how the county clerk's office will get the information to actually issue this the way that it needs to be done.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? Motion fails for lack of a second. Is there another motion from anyone on a revision that you think should happen? In terms of putting a link in the form or
What was the action we took last time? We took an action.
To
last time
remove this
to remove all the
information
other
and
actions.
add this sentence.
For individuals who have been assigned a take-home vehicle, write duties are further explained. Please also be aware that that usage of a vehicle may be subject to IRS tax provision, and then put a link to
Will you scroll to the top? I think there's just something about Iris in there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
so
There
it's
it
something
is,
to
it's right here.
consider as tax fringe benefit.
So
oh, there you go, it's already there. Yep.
we don't need to take, so we don't need to take any action.
No.
Yeah, and then when they sign the
Well-
form, they're
Unless you
informed.
want to put a link or something.
Oh, say again, Rick, sorry.
When they sign that form, they acknowledge, it's an acknowledgement form.
I don't even know what the form says, to be honest. I don't.
It's the very last.
Do we want to add a sentence specifically aimed at whomever these people are that are in charge of this? You know, department heads or whatever. Like, hey, department heads, remember, it's on you to make sure this happens.
But that's internal workings of the day-to-day operations.
So they already did
That's,
it, I think.
that's like when, if
No, we
you're
don't.
doing something that
No, we don't.
my office needs, but you're not getting it the right way, I'm not gonna put the instructions in the employee handbook to tell you how to do your job. That's gonna be your boss telling you how to do your job, and if you're still not doing it, then our bosses will get together and figure out how to make it work.
This is all pretty clear.
Yeah, that covers it. And then that one sentence that was put in last time references to this specific document. So I think it's clear for the employee what the expectations are and the requirements.
Is everybody ready for me to go back up to the section? I just want to check.
I mean, like, so I just like for my own, it's like, what would be the sheriff's responsibility here for this form? Or is the employee making the decision on how they want to be taxed? You see what I'm saying? So like, if we give this form, I'm assuming the employee fills this out, right? So do they get to make a decision on how they want to be taxed? Is that what this is telling us? They can use the cents per mile rule, they can use the commuting rule, or the annual lease value rule. I mean, what is this form actually doing?
I think the
Good question.
the head of the department chooses which measurement they want to measure what's taxed by.
Yeah, but how would they know what's best for the employee's personal tax situation? You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah, but they're-
you as an employee, you're agreeing to whatever it is. So it's just a conversation.
Yeah, they're stating what their understanding is that
So wherever the head of the department puts down in one of those boxes there, if you sign it, well, it doesn't really matter if it's best for your taxes or not. You agreed to do it.
I think it's just like whenever you do the number of dependents. I mean, that's on the employee. When you turn that in, you write down, you give it to them. And it's the same thing. They're determining right there which assessment, which valuation
The employee or the elected
the
official?
employee is. That's who's signing that form is the employee.
Okay.
Yeah. They're the ones that are determining that.
You would only get that form if your elected official or department head had decided that your vehicle is taxable. So that responsibility would still be on the department.
To be honest with you, I'm not sure what to say when an employee says, which one do I select? I don't even know what the annual lease rule is. Is anybody here? I mean,
So this isn't a common
honest
thing in the
with you.
sheriff's department. That's right.
Yeah. Do what?
This is not common.
I've never seen it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it, but I don't know how I've seen it in practice. Maybe just because our employees are generally exempt, but. Do y'all get those forms quite a bit submitted to you? Do you know?
No, this form doesn't exist right
Oh, that's brand new. Okay, well, maybe that's why I haven't seen it.
There is a similar form.
now, that we do not often receive.
Right? Anyone believe there should be a link somewhere or just no action needed?
Well, I mean, and again, I'm just not sure. Is it, so all of that one through whatever that you had linked in there, that all came from one place in the IRS code? So, or that's
It's
not
in
like
that,
a
like, the 15B is like the,
15, yeah,
Which is what's referenced on the document.
okay. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Well, and if it's referenced, I think, my personal opinion is it should be linked, right? We're doing that with all the other stuff. Click here.
Yeah, you can just put a link to whatever the
Right.
IRS tax code is right next to where it says benefit by the IRS tax code. You can just put a link in there. Hyperlink.
And that first red paragraph there, we already accepted that.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to. I think that language is fine.
You scroll up on that too. Is that this?
That's the very beginning.
Start of the section. Well, I mean, so employees have to keep your own motor vehicle insurance? Drive a county vehicle? Is that what you mean? Is that what
Just
that
that
means?
you have to have maintain a valid driver's license. And you have to have personal vehicle insurance. I don't think you don't have to have insurance on that.
Brandon, I think that's talking about if you're using your own personal vehicle on county business and getting reimbursed, because it says operators of county vehicles or any other vehicle on county business. So if you're using your own vehicle on county business and you're gonna get reimbursement or whatever you need.
Yeah, if I go to the court clerk's conference.
Right. I'm
I
guessing
get
that's what
reimbursed.
that language is hinting at.
Just from here on this one, removing the word your.
Right. Good motion.
I'll move to accept the first underlined paragraph of this section and the addition of in the last paragraph your,
Deletion.
or yes, sorry, deletion of your before your rights and the addition of the IRS code 15B link.
So to accept all changes excluding the IRS definitions and adding the IRS.
I think you would be excluding that whole,
Yeah, that whole section.
yeah.
Yes.
Cause there's that first, like the beginning
IRS
part
definitions
about
section.
reporting it, yeah. Great. But then like to answer the question you had last time, like if you go to Walgreens on your way home, this language actually says, like more than minimally for personal purposes. So that was the thought behind taking out the second paragraph that says, like, you cannot use this for anything if it doesn't benefit the county, because the IRS language actually allows you to use it minimally, which I think would be like, to your point, if you needed to make the stop on the way home, would be fine without becoming taxable.
You can merge like benefits, yeah. Just kidding.
So can you bring up the paragraph that Ryan's motion is to add?
This one.
Just that one, okay, all right, this one, understood, I'm sure, thank you.
Yeah, so we're adding this, deleting this.
So I'll second Aaron's motion.
Okay. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Uniform safety equipment.
On this, after reviewing the IRS documents, uniforms issued are taxable unless they are specifically required as a condition of employment, and not adaptable to general use as ordinary clothing. So this is really gonna be like our police uniforms, facilities uniforms, things like that you have to wear every day as a requirement. Other items issued by departments would be taxable, so adding in that same request for departments to report when they issue these items. And then also noting if the clothing qualifies as excludable, cleaning costs are also excludable for departments that do laundry. I don't know if that was a question that came up.
So are you saying that Rick's shirt right there is a taxable?
Yes.
But if I turn
Don't
it,
look at me like I'm making up the IRS code, okay?
Your understanding,
Yeah.
your understanding.
Absolutely. If you look at that 15B, and I tried to work it every which way,
if I turn this in, you know,
I don't think that
If
we
I
would go
retire.
back and,
retire, get fired, or whatever, and they say you need
even
to.
if you give it back, even if there's a logo,
I think you could treat this just like we did on the vehicles. You put the link to the IRS tax code, so you are notifying employees that if they receive particular apparel from their employer, they could be taxed on it, and you have that link there.
Yeah.
And then I think that is completely sufficient. As far as if departments are notifying or not notifying the clerk's office about whether they are purchasing stuff, that's a department to department thing. I don't think that's.
what is the issue with making it just clear to departments what is taxable and what's not?
Because this isn't a department handbook. This is an employee handbook.
I'm not inserting these sections into the handbook. Like, these are sections that were included in the draft. So
what draft?
in the ACO draft.
Right. So this is stuff that was, you took something from somebody else that they did and you're adapting it to your own environment.
Right, which we still have to follow the IRS code.
Sure.
So, and there's a lot of confusion about how this is done.
But there's lots of things that we have to do by federal mandate that we don't list in here because it is an organization procedure, not an employee. This isn't an employee duties handbook specifically about you doing this a particular way. This is a general expectation of an employee whenever they work for Oklahoma County. This isn't a standard operating procedure on how individual employees will need to do a specific job.
But I think employees should be notified that they can be taxed on that. Because I had no idea.
And I did agree with you on that. I said we treat it just like we did the vehicles. That said, you have a statement in here that says employee is on notice that if they receive apparel from their employer, they may be subject to federal income tax. Please refer to IRS tax code, and you put the link in there. Now they are aware of that, just like on the vehicle deal, but we don't have to get into all of the nitty gritty and the specifics and all that. Just.
So, Cody, just playing devil's advocate against you here. This section is a lot less nitty gritty than in the vehicle usage, listing out all the exceptions and things like that. I think when you look at this with everything taken away and what's added in, you're looking at probably the same amount of paragraph that we left in vehicle usage, referring to the IRS code.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's narrowed down as much as it can or should be. It's less than half a page.
I think it's basically just saying that it's basically saying that you just could be. It's not going into the specifics.
No, I get that. My issue isn't letting employees know, because whether we have it in here or not, we're not circumventing IRS rules. The rules are what they are, whether we have it in here or not. My issue is when if we're trying to utilize the employee handbook to tell departments and employees of the department how to do their job. That's not what this document is supposed to be about.
So I guess I also had some confusion on the IRS code. I look at shirts like Rick.
So it all 87,000 IRS agents.
I have a small business. And I would need all my employees to wear a shirt with my company logo on. And I go have those made up. Right? Pass them out to everybody. That's a deductible expense on my taxes, on my business's taxes. How's that in here?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. So is Rick's shirt, Rick has to pay tax on that shirt? Is that what you're saying?
That makes no sense to me.
That doesn't either. You must be writing before you move. So I mean, it's like, okay, so so if clothing or uniforms must be specifically required as a condition of employment. So if Rick says you have to wear that, is that not a condition of employment?
So if he was required to wear that shirt
We,
every day and it was enforced,
on jury days and stuff, we
not
are
on, not
required
on
to
like
wear
a
a certain.
specific day. And like, I fully encourage everyone to read the 15B too. Like, I don't shoot the messenger.
No, I was just thought.
I remember it was very vested.
But even like if you required employees to wear the shirt on Fridays, it would still be taxable because they're not required to wear it as a specific condition of their job and it's not enforced.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So like, so okay, let's say for me, we've got some well civilian that are issued clothing are required. So okay, let's pretend I'm Rick Warren and I say, okay, I just gave Rick a shirt and I send it to the county clerk. How do you guys determine how much to take out the check?
That is something that we're gonna have to work through with payroll. Okay.
I mean, Rick's like, well, just give me the Walmart one, so I can pay $15 tax rather than, you know what I mean? Like that's.
Could I start another end of this debate too? Just don't throw anything at me. General use as ordinary clothing shall be reported to the county clerk's office with tax free benefits. Is not adaptable to general use as ordinary clothing. Could you say that when you have a county seal on it that it's not for ordinary use?
And you could definitely say
That is not what my research turned up. Well, I think you could argue it, sure.
And the county could adopt a policy that this isn't such?
I think whenever we have specific stuff in the handbook like this, it begs all of these types of debates and questions. Whereas if we reference the IRS link and let it go at that, we don't need to be telling, like I said, we don't need to be using this document to tell departments how to report information to another department, because this isn't a department handbook, it's an employee handbook, and you don't need to be giving employees tax advice via the handbook. Just let them know that, receiving clothing from your employer could be subject to an IRS tax benefit, a tax benefit, or it may be taxable. Please refer to IRS tax code and put the link in there for more information, and just leave it at that.
I mean, kind of your point though. I mean, like even me, I can at least see that. I mean, I wouldn't if Rick wore that in a while, I was a cashier, I wouldn't really think anything up and wear it in there. Now, if he's wearing a full on SCBA and a fire suit, I think it's weirdo, right? But I mean, like even C though, I think C is more so. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, how many times when you go out on a date with your wife on vacation, is that the first thing you pack? I mean, that's not general use clothing. Right? I mean, you don't hop on a Carnival cruise wearing your county shirt. I mean, I get the whole IRS thing. That's why it's just odd.
The handbook is supposed to be a 10,000-foot level. Do not get into the minutia. That's why you got a 126-page existing handbook. It is not a training manual. It is a employee handbook. Training and policy are two different things. If you want to have a training for each individual entity about how to report things for tax purposes and payroll, then you have that with your employees and you call it training and do it that way. It's not necessary in the handbook. And the ADCO version is probably passed by probably by 75 of the 77 counties. And that's the language that they came up with, that multiple lawyers and ADCO county commissioners all over the county are relying on that same language. That's why I recommended it. All I'm telling you, you can take things out, and you can put things in, but be careful with what you do, because if you get super in the weeds, all you're going to do is create more questions.
I am recommending the language from the ACO handbook.
That's fine. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm not attacking anybody. I'm just saying the ACO handbook is probably, that's where we were at, and I know that we were looking at removing it. And you can tweak it and you can remove it. My whole point is, if it's not in the handbook, that doesn't mean that the requirement to comply with the IRS is what your employees know this is.
I will make a motion to accept the language in the uniforms and safety section.
So it's straight out of ACO, kind of like straight out of Compton.
All the changes are tracked from ACO to what I'm proposing.
You're proposing what we're looking at right now.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, the black is ACO.
And the red that is not scratched out.
Is
So
what she's
your
got.
language is not,
No,
The black
no,
is
the black
ACO.
is that.
I know, but I thought what
The red is
she
what I'm
indicated a
proposing.
second ago to Ms. Enders was that she is proposing.
Well, with like the definitions that we've been discussing, so like the A through C, with the vehicle usage, what I was saying, like that came from ACO.
It was
Like
in
all
there.
of those were in the ACO.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and like what I said before, my concern isn't the letting employees understand and know that they can have tax benefit. It's that it appears that the language that we have in here, that is the red that's going beyond the ACO language, is trying to, and I understand why you want to inform departments that they need to get your office certain pieces of information, but that it's not an appropriate place to do it in the employee handbook.
sure, and we'll communicate that in other ways. It will be sent out in other ways, so that's fine. The other red language is adding in the cleaning costs because that was a question that came up. The safety equipment, I know we all agree that that sentence needed to be changed. And what I'm clarifying is that what's in red, I'm suggesting we add, what's in black is the actual language. So, open to thoughts. I think the more information that people have, I mean, it's not a ton of information. It's not 20 pages of information. It's obviously something there's a lot of confusion about.
But if your language isn't exactly what IRS language is, then an employee, if you had mentioned cleaning, right?
The stipulations for what's taxable is exactly the same.
Okay.
The language about cleaning is the IRS language that I added from the IRS, was not in the ACO book, but did come from
But when that IRS language changes,
the IRS.
and we're not updating our handbook constantly, when that language changes and something is added, an employee says, well, the IRS is coming after me for X, Y, and Z, and I didn't claim this because my employee handbook doesn't mention that. It only says cleaning and this and that. And then they're relying on our handbook as their tax advice. That's why I don't think you put anything in there other than you may be subject to a taxable benefit. Please reference IRS tax code. You put the link in there, and that way it's on them to make those determinations. We're not listing specific things. Right.
Yeah.
And if they go to HR block and get their taxes done, the guy at HR block is used to this, and he can answer the question on that. But it has to be on the W-2. I mean, it's gonna be reported on the W-2. Obviously, if it's not reported on the W-2, then they don't have that taxable issue.
Well, your motion stands. Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? Motion fails. Due to lack of second. Okay, is there another motion? If not, then the ACO language stays the way it is.
I think we need to, if it specifically calls out the IRS, if that should be hyperlinked. Right? Do we need to vote on that, or can we just?
I mean, but it's still under 15D, right? So we linked that earlier under vehicle usage. I mean,
I would just make a motion that we link the IRS code just like we did in the vehicle code. That's my motion.
I second.
So the language with the lines through it is the ACO, correct?
no, the black.
No, the black is the.
And the language,
And
the
that-
lines from
Yeah, that was ACO because that's what we're, So the language with the red lines, you're saying,
Yeah,
if we don't do what Aaron's suggesting, that will come back. It will no longer be red
Unless
lines.
there's another motion.
Well, right now we
Because
have-
that also says, the following policies and procedures must be closely followed by all employees. And it still has some of the same things we've just been talking about. Not exactly and not all of it. So I'm
Well, how about this, if you're not ready to move forward, other than putting a link in for the IRS tax provision, put that link in there, get the other language out, and just have the ACO language. It sounds like that's what's comfortable for everybody. And then once it's kind of a clean document where it just has the ACO language, then I think it might be easier for you to go back through and see if there's specific things that you want to tweak from that. I mean, I don't know, for me, whenever I'm looking at a document like that that has a bunch of adds and a bunch of subtracts, it's hard to really kind of track what's actually there. Whereas if you're not wanting to add that other language, then just get that out of the document, and then you can read the document as a whole and make some tweaks if necessary from it.
So I do have pulled up the uniforms and safety equipment as it sits without Aaron's suggested changes.
There you go.
and
It's readable.
I don't know how many employees just really read the handbook page by page by page by page, or if they just look things up as needed or what. But I could see this little section giving people in the court clerk's office a little heartburn when they're like, oh my gosh, what? I have to, I got a shirt. I'm supposed to pay tax. And they're like, what? And then it doesn't show up on their W-2, and they don't know what's going on or why, or, what's happening there. So it's almost like if we're not going to explain it fully, maybe we do need to just make it go away, even the ACO stuff. Just
I'm gonna make a motion.
I'm
There's a
sorry
motion
to
on the
interrupt.
floor
We
right
do
now.
currently have a motion on the
Yeah.
floor. Mr. Buchanan, motion to link the IRS code, and
Seconded.
Mr. Charles Dodson seconded.
All those in favor of the link?
Aye.
Thank you.
sorry.
No, go right ahead.
Well, to stack on top of that, I'll move to, except for the link that we've just added, removing all language and adding in language, county provided uniforms and safety equipment may be considered a taxable fringe benefit for employees. For more information,
So this here,
District.
for more information, visit.
basically, county provided uniforms and safety equipment on
Okay.
this
hold on a
property
second, hold on just a
may
second.
be, may be considered a taxable fringe benefit for employees. More information.
Who's the IRS tax code?
Maybe.
So So the writing at the bottom that's in dark, like the A, the bullet points below that,
That'll all be gone.
they'll all be gone.
Yeah, just with that language on the link.
So we're taking away from what ACO has.
Yes.
What you're proposing. Okay.
I'm not this sure.
And what was your second sentence to lead into the? What
Sorry.
was, it's okay. What was your second
Yeah.
sentence to lead into the?
What happens when somebody leaves and there's somebody else that works in the organization that's roughly your same size?
Yeah.
You give them all your stuff. Because I've got some District 1 stuff that I might put Ryan in a higher tax bracket.
But consider the depreciation value.
Oh, none of it'll fit him.
He did
Okay.
leave a couple in the office.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Can you read the language again?
Well, how far down are we going?
Yes. The whole thing.
Hold the way.
The whole thing is what he's deleting and keeping this sentence, or adding, technically it's adding this sentence.
What about at the bottom where, past this, where we've got the dark section, that clothing?
He's removing that also.
So that too goes away?
Yes. So he's removing all language except the link.
Okay.
And adding. Okay, 1 second.
Just breathe, Jesse.
County provided uniforms and safety equipment may be considered a taxable fringe benefit for employees. For more information, consult IRS tax code, and then the link will be listed there.
Or consult your tax professional.
That is not what he said.
That is the motion. Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
They're done. 4. Yes.
So Rick, you can with that.
Okay, item 5, discussion possible action to accept the changes of the employee separation section. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get down. It's a new day every morning.
Okay, so it starts on page 60.
Oh, 60?
Sorry, go back to the other draft. The attach, if you go to the attachment on the agenda,
Employees following amendments to
because
their
it came
previous
from the
returns.
last.
Oh, okay,
the
yes.
last meeting.
One moment.
Good progress. I got nothing to do with it.
We have to look.
Okay, so in this section, under layoff, adding VOCC department head, removing these, like the sentences at the end of reduction and retirement about paying out accrued leave, we do cover that in the comp annual and audit section. Changing discharge to termination to be consistent, and then that last sentence in the termination / discharge section says that employees won't be paid out if they're separated for cause, and taking that out. Also taking out the part where they need to report to the clerk's office for an exit interview and to make arrangements for a final paycheck.
Like you said, everything basically everything we're taking out is already talked about in the previous
There's
sections.
no changes in there. No, there's no changes.
Okay.
So Aaron, that's standard practice. I don't know if you're aware of your office's payroll stuff. If employee gets terminated and you've got 3 weeks vacation, that is wiped out.
It just gets paid out, so they don't need to come to our office to make arrangements.
Oh,
or
you guys,
Have you all been doing exit interviews?
No.
Okay. Where'd that come from?
ACO.
Okay.
So I
Any
make up.
departments doing it?
We do.
I don't think we need to require. And so I make a motion to accept the changes.
I do have a question for you. So in other areas where we've, like how we have that for the sheriff's office, where we have the just cause law, those that are 5 years, if it's stated somewhere else, would it qualify for here too? Or does it need to be listed here as well? In that termination section?
This is a reduction in force layoff section,
Okay.
so.
Well, I'm more so the termination, I guess, further down. Where it
okay.
says the county adheres to the principles of at-will employment, whereby the county and employees alike can terminate at any time for no reason. That don't apply to us for employees that are over 5 years.
Yeah, that exception should be listed.
Yeah,
I believe it's section, well, let's just make up numbers again. I think it's Title 19, Section 547. I think I say that every time.
Did you say 547 or 5?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, you're
Yeah, it is.
looking.
It's Title 19, Section 547.
So Brandon, could you do, in order for Oklahoma County to carry out its obligations and priorities in the most efficient manner possible, comma, except for those employees that fall under Title 19, Section blah, 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 comma, the county adheres to the principles.
Yeah, just for the way to go forward, it says, everybody's at the pleasure of the sheriff, blah, 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 blah. However, for counties with a population of 500,000 or more persons, according to the latest census, with the exception of chief deputies and undersheriffs, all deputy sheriffs and detention officers shall serve a 5-year probationary period, during which the deputy sheriff or the detention officer shall be considered an at-will employee. After the 5-year period, such deputy sheriff or detention officer shall not be discharged except for just cause. So, just if we need that in there or not.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to accept the changes with the addition of the statutory language that we're in.
Placed after the most efficient manner possible, except.
Except those.
Employees that fall under Title 19, Section 547,
Yeah,
and et cetera, comma, et cetera.
you just gonna have to link that.
Except for the exception outlined in, instead of employees, except for the exception,
Exceptions or exception?
except for
Is
the
what you're
provision,
talking about
except for the
covered
provisions of Title 19.
by state or municipal law?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is what you're talking about covered by that last sentence there?
Yeah, it's
State or
in state
municipal
law. It's in state law.
So
It's
it's
already
already
covered.
there that is an exception
Yeah.
in that
Because
last.
it would be prohibited,
Not prohibited.
to be at will.
I mean, that's
So,
that's
so what if we
that's probably-
say, what if we say to include 19, whatever the statute is?
Yeah, that's-
Just at the end.
So just put the statute at the end?
Yeah. So not prohibited by federal, state, or municipal law to include, and then cite the.
yeah, again, that's why I was asking her, because it specifically mentions in other places, but if that language applies, I'm fine with that.
Actually, to read, I would put it not prohibited by section 19, Title 19, section, what is it, 547?
So, yeah,
Federal, state, or municipal law. That way you have the exact one and then
okay.
you're more generalized.
She's saying.
Either way, put it at the end and it'll be fine.
Before the word federal?
I do like the reference to the statute, though.
Is that your motion, sir?
I
One-
think, I don't know.
one second.
Did you make it, Ray?
One
That
second.
with motions.
Cass is on the time.
So now it's suggested that we put it after the words not prohibited by Title 19, Section, that's great, okay. All right, so to accept the changes and add the statute after the words not prohibited by.
One second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
One second.
No problem. Okay, item 6, authority to search. Section.
Okay, I'm just removing a duplicate sentence about searching containers. If you look at that, you'll see the next sentence says the same thing, and then changing computer network to communication systems as we defined earlier. And I'll move to accept the changes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Move on.
Quickly.
No, you're
And item 7, tobacco-free policy.
Okay, I do need to backtrack a little on this and make it go back to smoke-free policy. After I looked at the statute in Title 21, it does say smoke-free specifically, so I think it should match the statutory language. So, the second sentence, in addition, smoking and vaping, I would add tobacco, nicotine, marijuana, or other lawful products consumed in a smoked or vaporized manner for that statute. will not be allowed within 25 feet of the entrance.
Are you wanting to change the part down in the paragraph that says tobacco free to smoke free, or leave that as tobacco free?
She's adding this, and then she's saying here in the header.
I knew the part about the header, but I would just ask.
I would take out the tobacco free and, so it would just say non-smoking. To just kind of align with that, with the statute.
Because I thought, okay.
Yeah.
So like that.
Yeah.
She's one of those.
What would your additional wording?
So after smoking and vaping, tobacco, nicotine, marijuana, or other lawful products consumed in a smoked or vaporized manner is the
You don't have to do
statute.
that slower, you can type that in.
No left-handed cigarettes.
One more time.
Tobacco, nicotine,
Mhm.
marijuana,
Mhm.
or other lawful products
Mhm.
consumed in a smoked or vaporized manner.
Don't
Get
have
out
to
of here.
repeat
You
it
remember
verbatim. No.
And hyperlink, Aaron,
Oh,
and to hyperlink that statute.
Yes, and to hyperlink the statute. So I would move to call this section smoke-free policy. Actually, it's already called that. Disregard. The only changes I'm suggesting to the smoke-free policy are to add that language. So in addition, smoking, I'm proposing to add, and vaping, tobacco, nicotine, marijuana, or other lawful products consumed in a smoked or vaporized manner will not be allowed within 25 feet of any entrance.
there's a motion and a second.
And link that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You got to keep the smoke.
Yes. Correct.
We can still chew and spit.
All right, you're clicking right
I
along.
guess,
Item 8, telephone usage.
okay. I'm just suggesting taking this out.
The whole section.
It's about using county phones to make personal calls during your lunch break.
Okay, so just taking out the entire section.
Yeah, so I have a motion to delete the telephone section.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, that's kind of like a pager policy. Nobody uses it.
Okay. Uses it. Item 9, deleting the voting section of the handbook.
Okay, so I'm suggesting we remove the voting section. It's covered under the election leave benefit section. So motion to delete voting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
10, discussion of possible action to replace the service animals policy section of the handbook draft with a proposed Americans with Disability Act as amended section.
Okay, so on this one, the service animals is part of the Americans with Disabilities Act, but really I think if we include the broader Americans with Disabilities Act, I don't know why it's not included already. So
That's not in handbook.
no, it just has the service animals section, which is part of it, but not all of it, and we definitely need to set that up.
So this is the language she's proposing to add, and then this is what she's proposing to delete.
So the language I'm proposing to add would cover this. It doesn't specifically say service animals. I don't think that we necessarily need to.
It's not directly from the ADA. Or Disabilities Act.
I wouldn't say directly, but reviewed by compliance with the handbook.
Was it condensed by an attorney or was it expanded by an attorney? Shorter?
Definitely, it's shorter than the Americans with Disabilities
that's
Act.
Much?
Yeah.
Much.
So you made your motion.
So is this Echo? What is this?
Did you make your motion?
I did not.
Is the,
This
I'm just curiosity. The ADA thing is not in ACO
It's not.
and it's not in the handbook we currently have?
It isn't.
Well,
I feel like I've just seen it,
that,
and why I'm just like, I can't believe this isn't in the
Yeah, you
handbook.
bring it up.
But I would say if it's in our current handbook, definitely we
I
probably
mean,
should
it's a
keep it.
legal requirement to comply. So.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, why wouldn't you just have language that says Oklahoma County will follow the Americans with Disabilities Act? You can find language pertaining to this act.
No, I'm saying I'm not seeing it in the current handbook.
Okay.
Look for
Interesting.
accommodation.
Very first page, I think that
Okay,
they say that
thank
we,
you.
that Oklahoma County follows ADA
That's what,
title.
yeah, under where equal opportunity employers,
Yeah,
we follow
that there's the
ADA.
anti-discrimination.
Anti-discrimination.
You know, follow all of them.
It says in the current one.
I think that there's at the very beginning of the handbook. Statement, a declaration or statement.
Just do accommodation without an S.
Yeah, it's sort of like very top of it.
No, just accommodation.
You scroll up to the very top where we have the statement of, I just probably should have said the very top. Yeah, first couple pages where it talks about right there.
Page 3.
Yeah, equal opportunity employment. Maybe up a little further than that.
well,
Just
are
kidding.
we talking about the current handbook or the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the neuron.
I must be
County
thinking of
complies.
other handbooks.
Second to bottom paragraph, Oklahoma County complies with all applicable federal and state equal opportunity employment.
Well, it says physical or mental disability. Oklahoma County is committed to ensuring no employee, blah, 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 blah.
I think the ADA should definitely be mentioned, even if we don't spell out the whole. Yeah.
But you mean here, not later on.
Well, in our, somewhere, I just,
In the new book.
in the book, I think it. I mean, if we don't want to say all
So
of that, then
The wording
I think
we
we
just
still
looked at
should.
is not in the new book. That's what you're saying.
Correct. I think it does like allude to it, but it doesn't specifically name it.
So if we mention it somewhere.
Well, that's got EEOC in there. I think a general disclaimer that Oklahoma County follows and adheres to the Americans with Disabilities Act, and then maybe put just a little bit there and then link. I don't think you need 3 paragraphs.
Because what does the current handbook say about that general statement about? We have anything, and then not, I'm sorry, this time, sorry, not the current, the one we're making.
Oh, it has a service animals policy,
It does.
which would be like under the ADA, but not like under the umbrella. I don't know why it specifically talks about that.
At the very beginning of this handbook that we're making, does it have a general statement about how we want to follow?
I do feel like we need to have some kind of mention, even though if we accept this language as is, I think we need to at least mention the service animals policy if it's linking that portion of the ADA, because I know that there's a couple employees that have animals in the building.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to adding like a sentence about it, but I still think it says if you use that other language, it still applies to those people.
Absolutely. I wanted to make sure. I know we're on a goal with mission here for making everything short. A sentence is fine, but I think it just needs to be mentioned.
But emotional support animals are the ones that there's one employee I know that definitely has a service animal, but there's somebody over in the courthouse that I see, especially on jury day, I see them walking in with a little dog.
Yes, the judge on First floor.
Yeah,
Which is what I'm
You
talking
talk to
about.
them.
Where are you at?
it's not my building.
Be sure where your shirt includes.
Yeah.
This one.
It's not my
Wear
building.
wear your taxable shirt. And
Yeah.
if it's not, it's not. It's just coming out loud.
But I've also read in my limited research on ADA that we're supposed to post the service animal. There should be posters posted about it. And that's at the OCC thing. And they provided sample posters too.
Well, since it's not really mentioned anywhere else in this handbook, I mean, I think where Aaron's proposing to put it there, I mean, I think that's as good a place as any.
Aaron, have you made a motion?
Will motion to accept the Americans with Disabilities Act as kind of section in place of the service animals policy. With your sentence, if you want to propose a sentence, or kind of sum this up.
You could include just the first two paragraphs in the service.
Can we bring it back up? What
Does this
you're motioning the red letters, right?
Yeah,
Can you
let
bring
me,
it back
let
up?
me first motion just to accept the section.
I'll second that.
To replace this.
Put a motion in a second. All those in favor?
And then,
That's you.
But the header's not gonna say as amended, right? This year language as amended.
I think that's what it's called.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
We should probably link it.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
For
Your
purposes of condensing, I think that whole first paragraph could go away. And just say it's the policy of Oklahoma County to comply. And then put with the ADA or whatever.
That your motion?
Well, it's not a motion yet, it's just a thought before we make a motion. Just mention, I mean, that's a long paragraph
Agreed.
that.
Do we have more than 15 employees?
A lot of things. I just don't think we need all of that. Some of it's very obvious.
Agreed.
Brian, what did you want to? Anything from the service animals?
I think it was more just gonna be after whatever we put in to say
There you go.
Oklahoma County encompasses.
I mean, look at the service animal policy.
Well,
You
I didn't
want to
want
include any of that.
to make anything more than a sentence. Maybe the first paragraph, Oklahoma County complies with the Disabilities Act, ADA, as well as all other federal and state laws that govern the allowed use of service animals by members of the public and operated facilities.
service animal must be under the control of its handler, the service animal must be harnessed, leashed, or tethered.
Where do you see that? Is that portion?
Unless the individual disability prevents these devices, when these devices interfere with the service, and will say performance test. That's on the ADA website.
There is a motion, there is something wrong.
Yeah.
So let's just refer to the website.
Yep.
And take
Yeah.
out that first
Or
paragraph.
just link it.
Do you want
Yeah.
both links or just?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we link to the American Disabilities Act and that we delete that first paragraph in the red, back to the red.
Okay,
Did you get this motion?
yeah, but Ryan was making a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, what's your motion?
No, I don't think I officially made one to
I
speak.
didn't think so.
Okay, okay, so, all right, Charles, I got you. So keeping the first paragraph.
No, deleting the first
Delete
paragraph, the red, back to the red.
Right. I got that. You want to delete this one from the ADA.
And link these other paragraphs to the actual act.
Oh, just the straight ADA,
Uh-huh.
nothing for service.
Right.
Okay.
It's a motion, is there a second? Motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Now I'll motion to add to the list of links, that one link, the service animal link.
So you just want the service animal link, you don't want that.
Ryan, you know what service animals are? They are dogs.
Could be a pony.
Any breed, any size of dog, trained to perform tasks directly related to the person's disability. Service animals are not required to be certified, required to wear vests, are not emotional support or comfort dogs.
But they're only dogs.
Only dogs.
I didn't know that.
So like Joe Blau could be.
A service animal?
But I'm just saying, it says here, not emotional support. or comfort dogs.
Right.
So. Because that's what I've been told that the courthouse is.
So we have a link to the entire act now, but and you want to embed a second link that's only to that.
To the animal
So,
section.
okay.
There's like 2 portions.
Okay, there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Do you want to put some kind of like preface what the link is for? Like Oklahoma County will allow service animals as permitted by ADA for more information. Like,
The link does say service animals at the end of it.
but you
It
just
probably
drop
wouldn't be
it
a
in.
bad idea to see it and say,
Like regarding service animals, see the
Yeah.
following link or see the following in ADA or something like that. Yeah.
I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
So you were amending your motion.
I amended it to what they
Yeah.
said. We really follow that parliamentary procedure.
There you go. Okay, there is
Regarding
an
service animals, visit this link. Okay. All right,
amended
Leanne,
motion.
you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I second.
30 seconds. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. What's cooking now? Item 11, accept the change of the Oklahoma County personal use of county-owned vehicle agreement in the handbook. Here.
Okay, so these are our forms. They're on page 66. Well, let's look at the first of that. One on 66. Oh, sorry, it's on 65. Okay, so making Oklahoma caps just because the whole title is caps. Adding elected official or I would say BOCC department head there.
So you want to change it to say BOCC instead of just department head?
And then same within that last paragraph for BOCC department head. Changing discharge determination. And so I would motion to accept those changes.
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I just ask a question? Although we just, on that bottom, you think it's okay just to, did you say BOCC department?
She did. Yeah.
I thought you did.
She's got that, I notated that for both
Both
sections.
places. Okay. And
Item 12, to accept the change of telephone, email, internet, and voicemail employee acknowledgement form. All right.
Okay, so this, we're calling this the employee policy handbook. So I would just change that. Which is different than what's there in CASI. And then it says insert county name. Obviously, it's Oklahoma County. There's another place. No content changes, so I'll move to accept the changes to this form as well.
Second.
Question. Do we need employee, it's going back to the beginning, do we need employee policy handbook or strictly employee handbook?
We decided to call it the employee policy handbook, which I would definitely say it should be employee handbook, but that is what we decided to do.
I don't think it can always be, well, I can't, it's not an agenda item. We'll have to make
You can
that
bring that up
agenda
to the
item for next time.
Another meeting.
I agree with you.
Do we need to add the mobile stuff on this as well? For people that are,
Do you not feel that telephone communication?
I do, we just added another. So,
To me,
Yeah,
telephone is like, it's,
Yeah, but the other one is the telephone system.
yeah, that's true.
and then what about text messages? I don't know. I really don't care. I just- If we need to include it.
I think it says with it saying all electronic communication
That's
systems
probably
and
me.
all information transmitted. I think it's,
That's fine with me. We just specifically labeled out email and voicemail. So,
Yeah, no, it's just,
again, I don't care. I just, if somebody, if an elected official walks around and says, hey, let me see your phone, pursuant to the telephone, email, internet, and
great.
I want to read your text message, so you know it's not included. You can only look at my email and voicemail. Again, I don't know.
I agree. You kind of got to go one way or the other.
would you like to add something to it?
Not in particular. I just, if we need to, then we probably should now's the time.
I do feel like it's covered under all electronic communication systems and all information transmitted by, received from, or stored in these systems. I don't think
Oh,
it
man.
is.
And here again, I think IT may have
A different,
more, maybe even detail.
So your motion stands?
Yeah, unless you wanna.
No,
I'm happy
no.
to add something.
Okay, so there's motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And 13, discussion of possible actions that have the following language. Medical personnel who are scheduled for 12-hour shifts with an average of 36 hours per week are considered full-time employees and are eligible for health and retirement benefits. As an addendum titled Addendum, Medical Personnel Eligibility for Health and Retirement Benefits.
Are we circling back to this?
Yeah, this hadn't already been decided.
We put it, or
Yes.
budget board.
It went across budget board, but they kicked it back to us to decide where to put it, and so I'm just asking to put it as an addendum.
Okay.
Is
I think
that a motion?
Yeah, I'll move.
Well, I thought,
Second.
well, let me make sure. But when we originally thought about it, we put it under the employee benefit section, right?
So they were asking for it to be under 6.1, and then John Wilkerson had said 6.1 covered more than just that
Okay.
because it covers like all of the county benefits, I think. So he was not wanting it there, but they had kicked it back to us to decide where it goes. So it could go in 6.1. I think it's the easiest just to, especially since we're looking at scrapping this soon, just to make it an addendum for now, and then we do need to circle back and put it into the neutral.
So this addendum is for the current one that we have.
For
That's
the
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we would need, so you're gonna have another agenda item for the new draft next week then, on where to put it.
I am. Somebody should.
Can you make it a dual motion to include it in the new employee handbook? Or
I thought we'd already did that
No,
too, but.
because this agenda item specifically references the 2021 interim.
Yeah, I think just getting the book actually updated so that they can do what they need to do, what's been approved for them to do. That's all that we're trying to accomplish here, so we can definitely circle back.
Okay, so the motion is to put it as an addendum in the 2021 version. Second. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
that needs to be presented to the budget board. Budget board meeting with their approval. We can't just
Yep, since they
recommend
kicked
it.
back to us.
So they didn't approve it the first time. Because they didn't know what
They
it
said
They
said.
didn't approve the placement.
They approved the language and the budget by the vice chair placement.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
So
think it needs
we
to go
don't
back
need
to them.
to, good. That's good to know.
I think they approved it and they just said where it goes, you don't
You
care.
decide.
Just put it in.
Handbook
Yeah.
decide and put it in the appropriate
Great.
place. At least that's my way.
That's what I-
That's our start, our state code.
that's exactly what it tells for.
Okay, so we'll still have to decide where we want to put it in the new version. Okay. All right, that looks like it for this time. No citizen participation, board comments. Motion to adjourn, is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye. Record time.